When you're thinking about what neighborhood to farm to, my first suggestion is to pick your neighborhood that you live in. The neighborhood you live in, people see you out gardening, maybe you have pets that you're walking your dog. They understand who you are as a person. You build that relationship. Always good to walk your dog in business attire, even if you work from home all day with your name badge on, because then people think, wow, look how busy they are. My second choice for farming a neighborhood would be finding a neighborhood that has a good market velocity. And what I mean by that is how many homes are on the market, how many homes have sold in the last 12 months. And there'll be a formula that will pop up on the screen that can help you do that. Because your sales velocity is how many deals actually come in and you close that help you generate revenue for yourself. So when you look at your pipeline, you need to think that through. Where are my deals going to come from? When you find a farming neighborhood, you need to look at where am I going to get my activity from? And if there's not enough turn happening in a neighborhood, you're not going to have enough deals to generate it, to spend the money, marketing dollars on marketing there. When you're farming and you want to establish yourself as that expert, as with anything, you want to provide value. You want people to see you as that trusted advisor, as that person who is in the know about what's happening in that neighborhood. And that takes time and it takes research. Keeping a hot sheet every day of what comes on the market or off the market, price changes that happen in that neighborhood. I remember when I was selling, we'd go out for dinner as a family and my husband would get so frustrated because people would walk up to our table and say, hey, what did that yellow house sell for over there on the first 9 holes of the golf course? And he'd be like, really? We're having a family dinner. But when I was able to say, oh, you mean the one on Heritage Court? Oh, that sold for $690. They knew I knew what was happening in the neighborhood. That is how you become the expert. When they can ask you a question and you are able to rattle the answer. Average sales that are selling with the average sales price per square foot, what it costs to build a new house, how things are appraising in a neighborhood. All of those data statistics are going to help you look like the expert, and then they're going to trust you. You're providing them value with what you put in their mailbox, you'll be the expert. How can you differentiate yourself from farming while farming to a neighborhood? Well, the first thing is your brand. When you're with a brand like Berkshire Hathaway, it stands out. The quality in the materials, the presentation, how you present it, all is part of setting yourself apart. We have a lot of differentiators as a company in your home selling proposal and in your buyer's packet. And if you look at a few of those and just really highlight those when you're speaking to people, the brand is what helps you differentiate yourself from everybody else that's out there. So should you narrow your funnel and be specific about what you're marketing to within a neighborhood? If you were going to do that, you'd have to be farming to a very large neighborhood, and then you might just pick luxury homes or first-time home buyer homes or single-story homes for senior downsizing. But that's a little tough to do within a neighborhood, so that would almost be a non-geographic farming and more of just a farming to a specific a buyer or seller pool. When you adapt your farming to market changes, real estate changes, gosh, on a 10-year cycle. So knowing the interest rates, knowing the stats and doing the research and being on that hot sheet, you'll see the trends that are happening in that neighborhood, and you just need to be on top of it, and you need to be confident in conveying what's happening in the neighborhood to your buyers or sellers, again, it's knowing your stats, knowing the numbers, knowing the neighborhood that you're working, and you'll be the expert. How can you ensure consistent communications without overdoing it to your farming area? When you farm, if you're providing value and you're establishing that relationship, and you know the numbers and you know the data and you've done your research, you will be the expert. You will offer them something they want to know. Not a recipe card that they could care less about. You're letting them know what's happening in their neighborhood, and that's their largest investment. So understanding, again, like I said earlier, the market velocity of the neighborhood and what's happening, supply and demand determines price. To build it new, your cost per square foot, knowing those items are going to help set you up to be the expert and to be able to be the agent that's providing value, things that are relevant to them in the home buying or selling process. When you're farming, you have to be consistent, and it takes at least 8 touches before they even recognize you. So your first year of farming, you are going to get name recognition, but you're not trusted yet. Your second year is when you start to. Your third year is when you really will see that they come to you with the questions. But it has to be a good balance of face-to-face, things they receive in the mailbox, open houses that you do, new listings that you do, knocking on doors around that open house and providing a little value of this house is on the market, who better to find the neighbor who's going to live here. When you farm a neighborhood, it's not just dropping something in the mailbox and expecting a miracle to happen. You do have to work it. Prospecting is part of that farming, and consistency. They need to see it every month. A market stat postcard or a newsletter, providing the value consistently and knowing that it's not going to happen in 3 to 6 months. It's more like a year to 3 years that you'll start to see the return on that investment.